All right, so for this game, we have what is effectively just kind of a straight sequencing game. We have 7 positions to work with, so we'll set that up accordingly. And we have 7 elements. We have PST, and then we have VWYZ. And it's worth noting, there's nothing kind of out of the ordinary about this setup, right? Everybody just goes exactly once, one at a time. So from there, we can just go straight into the rules. So the first rule tells us that P is going to have to go before W. Next, we are told that T goes before S. Next, we are told that V goes before Z. And unfortunately, yeah, it seems like none of these rules seem to connect just yet, which I guess it is what it is. Next, we are told that S is no later than third. Now, this is a big one because we've already got an S on the board here. And if it can't go later than third, obviously it's going to have to go among the first 3, but not really the first position either, right? Because T has to go before the S. So really, we can kind of say that S is going to have to be either in position 2 or 3, which is hugely restrictive for S, and not even just for S, for both of these guys. In fact, we can even kind of say that between these first 3 positions, we're going to have to keep T before S somewhere. And that's kind of powerful. It's going to knock out 2 of the 3 first spots right there. Anyways, next, we are told that Y is not going to go 7th. Now, these kinds of rules should always raise a bit of an eyebrow because when they tell us that Y cannot go into position 7, I mean, it raises 2 questions. First of all, where could the Y go? And as of right now, the answer is actually almost anywhere because there's no real restrictions on Y. But the other question it raises is that if Y can't go 7th, who could go 7th? And usually, one or the other question is going to lead to something significant because there's a reason that LSAT is restricting something so awkwardly specific, this one element that can't go into this one position. There's probably something going on. And you'll notice that here, yeah, if Y can't go 7th, there's not actually a lot of people that could, because P obviously can't, V cannot, T and S are stuck in the first 3 positions. So who does that really leave? It's really just W and Z who could go 7th. There's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of options for the 7th position, and that's kind of worth recognizing. Lastly, we are told that P is first if, but only if Y is before V. Now, in case you don't know yet, remember, if and only if is essentially a bidirectional relationship. It means both sides are going to trigger the other. So symbolized, this would basically turn into if P is first, then we're going to have Y before V, and vice versa. This arrow goes in both directions. So that is to say, if we have Y before V, it would also trigger that P is going to go first. And then contraposed, this essentially just says that if P is not first, then and only then we'll have to have not Y before V, or in other words, we'll have to have V before Y. And you'll notice that in this case, I didn't flip this because it doesn't matter. Both sides are going to trigger the other no matter what. So from there, I suppose, let's see what we can do with this. In terms of further deductions or exhaustion, I'm not sure we can do much. This feels like we've done everything we could. So let's take a look at the questions. The first question here is number 6, and as usual, it's our standard exclusion question, so we go by the original rules. First rule, P goes before W. Let's see if anything violates that. A looks okay, B is fine, C is not. We have W before P, so we can get rid of that. Next, the rest are okay. Next, we are told that T has to go before S. Let's see if anything violates that. So A, B are good. D is fine. E is actually okay as well. So let's keep going. V before Z. Let's see if anything violates that. Answer choice A and B are okay. D rather is not. We have V before, oh no, that actually works as well. And answer choice E also has V before Z. Well, I guess these are not giving us much yet. Next, the next rule told us that S is no later than third. So answer choice A, we can disqualify because S can't go fourth. Answer choice B is okay. D and E are fine as well. Next, Y cannot go last. I guess that gets rid of D. That's an easy one. A and E, or either B and E, are still good. And lastly, now remember, this goes both ways, right? If P is first, so between B and E, do we have that happening? And we don't. Let's go the other way now. If Y is before V, between B and E, do we have that happening? And in answer choice E, we do. Here we go. So answer choice E, you'll notice, has Y before V. And if we have Y before V, this goes the other way. We're supposed to also have P first, which we don't. So we can get rid of answer choice E, and that leaves us with answer choice B as the only viable answer for question number 6. And as usual, we can plug that into the board. Answer choice B essentially says TPS W, and then we've got VYZ. Next, from there, let's take a look at the locals. So 7 and 8 are global. Let's take a look at number 9, which is our first local question. If S is second and Z is fourth, so if we have S2 and we have Z4, well, first of all, we know that T is before S, right? So T is definitely going to go first now. So that's kind of nice. And also V is before Z, so that lines up perfectly. Now, what else do we know? We know that P isn't first at the moment. So if P is not first, which it's not, then we have to have V before Y, but that's kind of useless because V is already here, so it's definitely going to go before Y. Oh, I suppose we also know that since the last position has to be a W or a Z, Y can't go there, and Z is taken up, so this is definitely going to be a W. And I guess the other guys are just going to flip. What do we have? We have Y, and we have P remaining, and P is obviously going to be before W, so these guys could go either way. Let's take a look. The question now asks, what could be true? P6? And actually, yeah, that seems like that could easily happen. Let's hold on to answer choice A. Just in case, let's take a look at the rest. T third, and no, T is already first. V5, and no, V is already in 3. W5, and no, it's last. And Y third, and no, because that's already V. So the best answer to question number 9 is A. Next, number 10 is global. We'll come back to this one in a second. Let's take a look at number 11. If Y is 4 and T is 1, so if Y is fourth and T was first, what does that tell us? Well, first of all, I suppose we know that P is not first, right? And if P is not first, which it's not, then we're supposed to have the V before the Y. And since Y is already here, I guess V is going to have to be somewhere over there with S, because S has to go among the first 3. So essentially, we don't know exactly who's who, at least I don't think we do, but we can say that S or V are going to go into 2 or 3 to some degree. Now, can we do more than that? I suppose not. V has to go before Z, but obviously that's going to happen. P before W, that's pretty flexible. I'm not sure we can do much more. Let's see what we can do with what we have. The question asks, which of the following now must be true? Answer choice A, P is no later than 6. Oh, earlier, wow. Does it have to be true that P is no earlier than 6? And no, because couldn't we put the P over here, for example? And that seems like it could easily work, so I'm not sure that that has to be true. Answer choice B, S goes second, and we're not 100% on where exactly S and V are going to go. Answer choice C, V is no later than third. And yes, there we go. V is definitely no later than third because he's either in 2 or 3. So the best answer to question number 11 is C. Just in case, let's take a look at the other two. Answer choice D, W7, and I suppose that could happen, but it doesn't have to. And E, Z is no earlier than 6. Does it have to be that Z is no earlier than 6? And no, because we've already got a V here, so we can accommodate V before Z by having Z in 5, so that doesn't have to be true. Once again, best answer here is C. Next, number 12. If Z goes fourth, well, let's see what we can do with that information. If we have Z in the 4th position, what does that tell us? Well, okay, so we're definitely going to have V have to go somewhere before. So it's going to go somewhere in these 3 spots. And that's going to be with T and S, right? Because we have to have T before S in those 3 spots. So I suppose we might not know exactly who goes where, but we can say that we're going to have a V/T before S across the first 3 positions, which I suppose that would mean that P is not first, since it can't go anywhere there, but that doesn't do anything because that just means that V is before Y, which obviously because V is all the way back here. I suppose the other thing we know is that W has to go 7th since it has to be Z or W down there. In other ways, I guess we are pretty flexible. We just have we have P and Y left, and they could probably go either way. So we can flip between these two spots. So the question itself now asks what could be true. P2 and definitely not. P has to go later. P7 and no, because that's already a W. W3 and no, there's no room there. Y second and no, Y has to go 5 or 6. Y6 and yeah, there we go. Y could have gone into 6. The best answer to question number 12 is E. Next, back to the globals. Number 7. Who could go first? Well, historically, I guess we've seen T and V go first. Is one of those? There it is. Answer choice B could have gone. V could have gone first. The best answer to question number 7 is B. That said, though, just in case, let's take a look at the rest. Could S have gone first? Well, no, because S is after the T, so A would have been out of the question. Answer choice C, could W have gone first? No, same problem. W has to go after P. That's not going to happen. Could Y have gone first? And actually, why not? Well, I suppose if Y was first, then P would not be first. But if P is not first, then V would have to go before the Y, and that wouldn't have worked. So Y could not go first. Answer choice E, could Z go first? And no, because Z is after V. So either way, as we said, best answer here is answer choice B. Next, question number 8. Who cannot go second? Well, again, let's use our history. We've seen P go second, we've seen S go second, and we've seen this opportunity for V to go second. Oh, and T as well. So we can cross off P, S, T, and V from the answer choices. Oh, that's beautiful. Answer choices A, B, C, and D are all out. So I guess that leaves us with answer choice E as the best answer here. For the record, that does almost raise the question of why couldn't W go second? Now, if W went second, I suppose that would mean that P would have, oh, there it is. P would have to go before it, but we need room for T and S in the first 3 positions. So once again, W cannot go second. Best answer for number 8 is E. Lastly, question number 10. Which of the following cannot be the guest lecture for V? So where can V not go? And again, let's use our history. Where have we seen V? And we've seen the opportunity for V to go into the first 3 positions over here, right? It could have shuffled quite easily. And we've seen a V in 5 as well. So we know that V could definitely go into 1, 2, 3, and 5. So that gets rid of answer choice A. It gets rid of answer choice B as well. And now we're just down to 4, 6, and 7. Wait a minute, 7? Yeah, there it is, of course. V has to go before Z. So obviously V cannot go into 7. Best answer is E for question number 10.